Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, all this stuff when it comes down to what has happened with censorship and, trying to protect children when in reality, we know that this is way more than that. All of this shit is very much connected. Like, I don't think at this point you need to sit here and question, is this basically the case? Because it absolutely is. Right? We're basically now at this point where we're looking around like we're the Mr. Crab meme, being like, wait, hold up, how much shit is being effed over right now? Because it's basically gosh dang everything. Someone made a whole tweet recently that I quote tweeted about them saying that this whole world is basically ran by predators, and you're not wrong. And that's kind of the sad ass truth, right? Or at least if it's not ran by that, they're ran by people that is very much still misunderstanding the entire situation about how they're going about things, and essentially all they're doing is trying to control people and not really giving two shits if a kid gets used in some shape and form. That's really what this comes down to. Again, it's always been a matter of control. It's always been a matter of, trying to see what you're doing when it's not their damn business when it comes down to it, right? That is ultimately how it is. And when it comes down to it, what this shit feels like is with these payment processors, these companies, these governments, these different CEOs of tech companies and stuff like that coming through, trying to, protect the children or try to be online safety and all this sort of stuff. High key, this shit feels like a damn super this feels like a vague superhero story, right? Where they're like, yeah, we want to do all the good things and have this posing face that we're a good guy, but ultimately they're doing way more harm than they actually, realize or even care to really notice, right? Basically, this whole world is basically Homelander. This whole world is essentially just Homelander as hell, and everybody calls it out and knows it's BS, but then it's like, the hell are we gonna do? And that's essentially why it's gotten to this damn point. There hasn't been a decision, there hasn't been a choice that these higher up people has made that has been once been for the people and their benefit, right? It has always been about either money or some type of control, and that is effectively how this whole damn thing just works, right? And I know some people are just like, man, a lot of you anime YouTubers, y'all talking about this, or at least, me and I, like a few other people, like Chibi and a few other people. But when it comes down to it, they're like, man, we just wanted to hear about some anime stuff, not all this. Why does this even matter? Because this effectively affects everything that we do like, whether it is anime, whether it is games and things of the sort like that. If we don't necessarily call this shit out and essentially do something about it, then high key, we're cooked. But then at the same time, it's like, what the hell can we do? Because legislation, let's just be real, is only gonna go so damn far. We can try and hope for legislation to actually work out, and hopefully, the right people will get involved. But then at the same time, it's more so gonna have to be something that benefits the administrations and whatever leader is involved in these sort of decision making things. And they can easily just wave their hand and be like, no, this is obviously something that's going to help out people, but no, it don't have to be like that, so we're going to say ignore these people for now. The UK has very much proven that damn point with that damn petition going close to like 1 million people signing that thing, and essentially they're just like, no, we're not repealing this shit whatsoever, knowing full blown well they're just letting weird shit just happen. Especially, granted, I didn't really expect much from a company, or not a company, but a government that basically, go out their way to arrest people because they said some quote unquote hate speech or a damn meme. Because these old ass British people that get still pissed off because we threw some damn tea in the ocean is very much, still kind of mad and prissy about that. It's a bit wild. Here's a real part of this discussion that I feel like we should definitely, really think about too, is that children are weapons. high key. Like at this point, you can use a child to basically do whatever the hell you want to when it comes down to some sort of control, some sort of gain, or whatever, right? Because Chibi pointed it out, Madam Savvy pointed it out. Basically, it's just saying like, yo, a lot of this stuff is connected with a lot of these, rating boards and a lot of these CEO tech big corporation companies and all this sort of stuff being like tagged together in a supreme cuisine like meal just to F everybody over in the name of just censorship, but they'll say protect the kids, but not really. And that's just how it is. Because high key, if you think it's weird and you think it's something strange going on, just look at what happened with the Roblox situation. Yes, the very much same Roblox that has a lot of predator weird shit content that's on there too, but also at the very same time, look how fast they moved to do something about the Roblox situation. You mean to tell me, once again, when it comes down to things of interest of the government, they can move like the damn Flash? They're fast as hell. They make Sonic look like a bitch for his damn speed, which is crazy. But when it comes down to it though, they are fast as hell, moving lightning it's just like Dolph Ziggler, muscle mass, moving fast, ready to fight. That's what it feels like when it comes down to it, right? They are hella fast when it comes to anything of their interest, but then the moment we need some help in some shape and form, the moment we need some ways to survive this BS high ass rise of cost of living and things of the sort like that, oh, we don't see shit. We can't smell the ocean. We smell ass. We don't smell the ocean for you guys. We smell the ass, just each other, because that's just how it is. It's like, are you shitting me? And then you wonder why people have no faith in anybody whatsoever when it comes down to these, companies or these governments and their policies and legislations and stuff like that. Because they know people are going to get hoed when it comes down to it, right? That is just simply how it is. Because let's just be honest, even if all of this age verification censorship stuff happens and it goes through and everything goes in the way it's gonna go, high key, do you really truthfully believe that every child now is going to be thanking the government and every child is going to be safe and never be to be used again? No, because if it's not going to be, predators going after them, it's going to be the government using them for whatever reason, right? That is literally, again, why I said children are like weapons. At this point, they basically go out their way to be like, yeah, so we need to pass this weird ass law that's obviously going to turn everybody that's an adult into slaves, and we're going to send them back to the old ass times of picking cotton, boy. But essentially, you want to do that for the children, better the children's lives, so all that sort of stuff, while it's not necessarily benefiting anybody. And then, oh look, we just introduced child labor laws again. That is what this shit feels like. I know I'm going like a little too over exaggerated with it, but at the same time, looking at how everything has shaped at this point, what would you put past them? What wouldn't you put past these people? Because they are very much in that sort of degree, in that sort of hella high point of saying F all of you, and essentially there's not a damn thing you can do about it, right? That's just essentially how it is. And it's ridiculous. It's like there is not a single person within a high place of law, a high place of a company or whatever, to actually do one right thing to actually benefit people in the grand scheme of things, right? It's never for the people. It's always for money and control, and that's basically it. If you don't have those two things, no one gives a damn for you. No one really cares. It is what it is when it comes down to it, and it's just sad. It is a sad state of reality that we basically live in, where everything must be controlled, everything must be regulated. When again, like I said, when it comes down to anime and how people were mad as hell that, oh, lollies exist and things like that, you don't need an anime lolly or a lolly in general or anything in fiction in general to go outside to do a bad thing to an actual kid. You don't need that. It's come down to your self-control and parenting, high key. Because if people actually were to take care of their kids and actually do what they need to do to benefit them, to actually get them going for a better, more safer life, we wouldn't be in this conversation right now, right? Like, it makes you wonder, high key, How do you even fight back? How can you even, pose an actual sort of like threat like this and smack it down with a fly swatter? How do you go about this? And realistically, as of right now, I can't imagine any way civilians and people can actually fight back. The only aspect, or the only way I can maybe sort of think that maybe we have something that we can do is, still whatever legislation that we can use, I guess. But it's also going to come down to just people and their minds and ingenuity of figuring things out to maneuver around what is going on right now, however they can. If a new form of internet has to come through and has to happen on behalf of the people, I can very much see it. Hell, I'll be real, and I feel like in a few years, or in some shape or form of some time in some space, I feel like people are gonna very much get tired of literally everything. Create some underground like life or society or something of the sort when it comes down to it. Make it just like the internet, but something better that the government just can't easily tamper their way into when it comes down to it. Because high key, that might be the only damn way that shit will work out for everybody, right? That might just be the damn way. Granted, how the hell do you go about that? How do you even start something like that? I couldn't begin to tell you. I couldn't begin to tell you. Is that even possible? I couldn't even begin to tell you. But it has been, recently shown that people are very much tired. They are very much wanting to fight back in some shape or form, and I don't blame them for that. If literally people in power that has the money to change the world, to do better and do good for everyone, just refuse not to do so, then ultimately it's like, yeah, all right, we're just gonna go ahead and do what we're gonna do ourselves and figure things out. Y'all heard about the one guy on TikTok that's basically been trying to make a whole machine that's been trying to, convert plastic into gasoline? Like, he's going about it and still, working on his whole project and stuff like that. And I believe in the video he said, I think once yesterday, he basically was like, if big corporations and companies don't want to necessarily benefit people and do things that need to be done to, to actually make the world better, then people ourselves will do it ourselves. And that's just how it is. And that is the most truthful thing ever. This whole ass world, for the most part of what we have seen, is okay with letting predators run wild on different places and in different high-rising places, just in political places and governmental powers and companies and all this sort of stuff. They have free reign and love to do all that sort of thing. If they could probably just straight up smash a child right in front of you in the middle of the street, they probably would do it, because that's how weird and just disruptive and chaotic these companies' heads and people are just is. At this point, that wouldn't surprise me if that's something that they really just want to freaking do. It wouldn't. And it makes you also wonder, what other things are they just involved in as well? What other things have they used to their benefit that we just haven't really thought about too? There's just a lot of it that basically kind of goes in on one another. It's not just a MasterCard Visa situation, not just a Steam situation, it's not just a Roblox situation, it's not just a lot of these situations that's been happening at a short period of time. This is very much a global takeover of the internet and just of people. How can the global entities of the world control everyone and everything? And this is what we're basically seeing the results of their work when it comes down to it. Which, fair play, they've been doing a crazy job of just straight up going ham in whatever way they're going to do so. But also at the same time, we also now see it ourselves. We are not stupid when it comes down to what's going on. We see that, our not only our rights, but our very lives at this point of how we live them is at stake and everything like that. And essentially now it's just going to be up to people to very much call this shit out, see this shit for what it is, and not F with it in whatever way possible, right? That is just how it is. You can't force people down a path they don't necessarily want to go down to. You can't save everybody. That's not how this world works. There is always going to be somebody that's going to get used and manipulated and effed over in some shape and form, while some other people don't have to deal with that. There's always going to be situations where that girl over there is going to get used and finessed and McDonald's got paid by some weird guy while the other person didn't, and somebody's complaining about it somewhere in a constant battle of it. There is no way to save everyone, at least normally, when it comes down to how this world operates and how it works. You can't force a bill on people and expect it to work out. Nothing goes wrong and thinking that's going to be the end of it, because that's just not how that works. This is a battle of trusting other people, helping other people out when it comes down to it. Because I'm gonna be real, you can throw out whatever law you want to, whatever sort of legislation you can go down with, but ultimately, if people can't necessarily trust each other, trust other people to do what needs to be done as a whole, then ultimately it doesn't really matter what you do, right? There will always be dealings with people in some shape and form to be like, hey, can I trust you to not do something inappropriate while children are present and stuff like that? Can I trust you to be a responsible adult? There has to always be a level of trust into things. If there isn't that trust there, you're basically asking for forcefulness and basically to be enslaved, and essentially that's just what that is, and no one's really gonna vibe with that at all, right? You can't just necessarily do that. You need other people to kind of come through and deal with things as we deal with things. And if somebody comes through, breaks said trust, and things go down in a terrible sort of way, then obviously it must be handled, and that's just how it is. That is what it comes down to. Again, your choices very much matter. You cannot live a life without making a choice when it comes down to it, and how it can definitely impact you in everything that you very much value when it comes down to it. Choices very much do matter. And the moment you start taking choices away from people, forcing down narratives and forcing down certain things, that's how things get crazy. That's how people want to fight against you and very much not F with anything that you do. So overall, I can't tell you the end result of this whole situation. I don't think anybody can at this damn point. But when it comes down to it, all I can really hope is that we reach some type of middle ground, some type of stalemate or something that actually can, help out everybody in some shape and form of the regular everyday person. Hell, pull some five game chess plan of like what this is in some shape and form. Whatever basically works at this point. Whatever basically works. Whatever gets us a W against these people is whatever we will take for sure. Cause this is just whack. This shit is just whacking this, and it's looking like a GG's, but we can't let that shit be GG's. Keep pressuring people, keep calling people out, keep doing all this sort of stuff. Because at the end of the day, this is all we got. High key, this is all we got, and it's very ridiculous and crazy that still people are very much for these companies or hasn't had use these platforms to call shit out and all this sort of stuff. But at this point, we expect this of these certain people, and we just need to fight against them as well when it comes down to it. But I guess that's really all I gotta say for this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on your way out. Also follow my socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash Out is available as well. And until then, it's Boy J, signing off. Have a blessed day.